and welcome to the Cesspool, and welcome back to the 25 Days of Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate. I truly hope today is a good one. And today, again, we return to the floor. No field trip yet, but something might be planned. We'll see. Before I start talking about what we're going to be talking about, I do want to point out that I am a little sick, and that's why yesterday's video was a little bit less traditional. I guess you could count that being a field trip, but I wouldn't really say that. But, so yeah, I'm sick, so if I'm not as enthusiastic as normal, that be why. But we are going to be talking about something a little odd today, and might be because I'm sick. This video may not be particularly long. It's not exactly a crazy topic, but it's an artifact that I have that I find particularly interesting. And I call it an artifact because I wouldn't exactly say this is collectible or cool. But before I talk about what I actually have to show here, I think we should talk about Nintendo films, because obviously we have the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which was announced this year in 2025, which is, another Illumination Universal project. Of course, we had the Mario movie in 2023, which was a huge success. That was a big deal, and people debatably feel that's one of the more faithful video game adaptation movies ever. And you know what? I do have to agree to an extent. Of course, it's an Illumination movie. The casting is probably not exactly what we as Nintendo fans wanted. I don't think anybody really wanted to see Chris Pratt as Mario. But you know what? The movie had to appeal to a wider audience. Obviously, this had to get people in theaters. And whether you like it or not, I think a lot of people went, myself included, to the Mario movie very, very damn interested to see how that cast performed in those roles. And I had fun with the 2023 Mario movie. I think that was a fun movie. And not to mention, away from the Mario stuff, we have the Zelda movie, which is going to be live action supposedly, and I'm very excited to see what they do with that. Obviously, we don't really know much about it other than it's a thing that's in development. But I think whether, they go with the Breath of the Wild direction, which obviously is where the brand is at right now, or they go in a more traditional direction, kind of like what they did with Mario, I think either would work really, really well. And then, in the future with Zelda, at least, you would be able to be like, okay, well, we're going to do a movie based on Twilight Princess. We're going to do one based on Majora's Mask, blah, blah, blah. I think that would be a lot of fun. It would be a really cool way to do it, almost like an anthology series where each entry doesn't really, it's not a sequel, it's just a new story in the universe, basically like the games. But there's one Nintendo movie that I'm not really mentioning, and no, I'm not talking about like the Mario Bros. Anime movie, which was only released in Japan and never dubbed. No, we're talking about a major Hollywood blockbuster release from the height of the original Super Mario Bros. 2D side-scrolling platformer era, and that will be, of course, the 1993 classic, just Super Mario Brothers, 1993, starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo as Mario and Luigi, and that is a terrible movie. But something weird came out of that movie because it was a major Hollywood feature, and at that time, obviously, Nintendo was pushing it. This was their big debut into Hollywood, so they were like, okay, well, we got to do plenty of merch, toys, as many tie-in deals as we can, and obviously, the studio was pushing that as well, and no one liked this movie. This movie was very bad, but I do have a piece of merchandise, and that is these playing cards, or they're not playing cards, actually, these are trading cards. These were released alongside the movie. They feature characters from the movie and quotes and information from the movie. And they don't really have any other purpose other than you can trade them and try to collect all of them. They have no game or anything attached. They're not like Pokemon cards or Magic the Gathering cards or something like that where there's like a game attached to it. It's literally just trading cards. They're like baseball cards, I guess, but at least baseball cards, it's like, okay, your players have stats and they go over generations of players and all that kind of fun stuff. No, these literally have like movie scenes on them and quotes from the movie, and then maybe a character will be like the main star of it. So I have this pack here. I found these at a local game shop, and they had a whole like original box, like something you would find them in the store on the shelf, with like a pack of these in them. They probably had like 50 packs, like it's crazy. And they were asking like $1, and I'm like, this is just kind of a weird little thing. Let me get a couple of them. And this one's opened. I have another one that's sealed. But yes, these are by Skybox Entertainment, or Skybox International, I'm sorry. And yeah, these were released in 1993 alongside the movie. And, you know, they're copyrighted from Nintendo and Buena Vista Pictures, which, you know, they were the studio behind the movie at the time. And yeah, of course, this is basically the not the box art, but this is the movie poster. They just added trading cards here too. And they only had 8 cards in these little things, not 10 like a lot of trading card games we usually do. They like to add 10. So we're just gonna take a look at these, go over these, and I actually have a one of the more rare cards supposedly. So yes, there were 100 of these made. I don't know if they planned on doing like waves, or if they were just like, we'll just put them out and see people buy them. Maybe we'll get people to watch the movie. We don't know. But they only ever made 100. They made 100 in this one wave, I guess. And we're just gonna go through the ones that I have. And so this one, so they don't have like a back, like, you know, traditional trading cards that have like a game attached to it. There's no backside. This one just kind of looks like it's a traditional back, but it's not. Obviously, you have that same kind of logo thing going on, with totally Mario and totally Luigi. That's how these guys look in the game, obviously. Trading cards, summer of 1993 when the movie was coming out. And back here we can see that this is actually card number 100, which is considered one of the more rare cards. I actually did look this up, and yeah, this is one of the more rare cards to find. And it's quite literally just a summary of the movie, which is that's kind of cool. Nothing was, nothing we don't know, but, and then summer of 1993 is the summer of Super Mario Bros., the movie, starring Bob Hoskins, Dennis Hopper, blah, 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 John Leguizamo. Skybox International is proud to present this original trading card series documenting the story and production of this exciting hit film. I don't know a lot of movies that have trading card tie-ins where it's just like, oh, this is what happened on set. Like, I don't like there was just absolutely nothing to go off of. You could have just done characters. I don't think that there were enough characters to do this many cards, but you could do like locations, you could do items. It's Mario. Like, I know that the cast wasn't huge in 1993, but like, they're, so this kind of had their formatted. So you have like scene from the movie, not really a quote, but like kind of just a title of the scene from the movie. So this is Nobody Touches My Tools, and obviously we're talking about Mario as a plumber. So yeah, another thing I find kind of funny is they in this movie he is quite literally called Mario, and yes, I know that that's like technically lore accurate, but I just think it's kind of funny that it's written in writing on an official product it was technically licensed and sponsored by Nintendo. Here he is, Mario, also known as Bob Hoskins. Good actor, bad movie. And then Materialized in Brooklyn. And let's see what this one's all about. So this is card number 81. That was like card number 8. The merging of 2 dimensions is fully underway. 1 minute, Mario and Koopa are facing off. Okay, so this is something that's kind of weird. They call him Koopa in the movie, but he's also like referred to as Bowser in like official material. So I don't like okay, I understand that Bowser is King Koopa, but also he was being called Bowser at this point, and that's way better than Koopa, because Koopa's the name of the turtles. The Koopas are just what the turtles are referred to as, and that had already been established. So it's a little weird. Obviously, the writers of these little blurbs did not know that much about Mario. They probably got a summary of this movie and were like, okay, let me get a cast list. This is what they're playing. Okay, whatever. So the materialization of the 2 dimensions are coming together. We got to save Brooklyn. Daisy meets Koopa because Princess Toadstool / Peach was not the main princess in this movie. It was Daisy, which is kind of interesting. It's not a bad thing. Now that Koopa has Daisy as his prisoner, all he needs is the pendant. I need to find some friends of yours, plumbers, and yeah, that's kind of a big thing in this movie. Like, they really kind of hone in on Mario being a plumber, which is fine. That's honestly something that I wish was established more than it is. Like, yeah, okay, we have warp pipes, and sometimes Mario has like a hammer in side games, but in the main series, like, Mario being a plumber is basically irrelevant, which kind of stinks because I kind of like the idea of them, more focusing on like a Mario game where, like, it's pretty obvious this guy's a plumber, or there's more references to it at least. I'm not saying like let's change the formula to make it a plumbing game or something like that, but I just think it would be kind of fun if they referenced it more often. They did actually in the new Mario movie. They made it pretty damn clear it was a plumber, and there was plenty of references to it, and it was a point at the beginning of the movie, which is, it's cool that they like really were like, okay, yeah, this is how he started. They went back to him being from Brooklyn, which was really cool because, again, that's something they never mention ever at this point. The ice slide, so this is like a scene. Card didn't want to focus. With a mattress as their magic carpet, Mario and the Brooklyn girls take advantage of the ice-crusted duct inside Koopa Tower's ventilation system and swoosh through the bowels of the building at breakneck speed. What the hell was going on in this scene? Quite frankly, I don't know. But they certainly are riding a mattress. The elevator, and I think we can see what's going on here. So obviously this movie took a lot of creative license with characters, because they were like, well, what the hell are we gonna like do with Goombas if it's a live action movie? So they make Goombas like giant dudes with tiny ass heads, and it's kind of terrible looking. It's definitely some like nightmare fuel, to be completely honest. But you know what? They tried. Honestly, this movie should have been animated, and I think it would have been a lot better because they did the animated TV show. They did a couple of them. They did the anime, and as far as the artwork was concerned in that, it looked very nice. So they easily could have done it again. They were like, well, this is America. Let's do it live action. Let's put some big names in it, and it just doesn't translate well. I do think that Zelda is going to do a lot better live action. Don't get me wrong, but Mario, I think he should stick to the animated sector. Again, like, what the hell does this have to do with Mario? We got a giant ass dump truck. We got the sludge gulpers tracking down the meteorite pendant. So that's like a main plot point, is that they're trying to find this pendant so that Bowser can go to Brooklyn and take over whatever the hell is going on. And they're looking for the all important rock, and they got the enormous sludge gulper, and they had Spike, which is a reference to Wrecking Crew, which, like, that's cool, and they did that in the 2023 movie too. But I don't know why they're referencing at that point like a black box NES game in 1993. Like, that was really irrelevant at that point. At least like in 2023, it's actually 30 years after that original movie came out, which I hadn't even thought of that. But 30 years after the movie had come out, this movie had come out in 2023. Yeah, Spike was slightly more relevant just because he had become like a retro gaming character, obviously, and Nintendo loves referencing NES stuff. So I actually think more people probably knew about Spike in 2023 than they would have in 1993, which is kind of sad. But they were like, yeah, we're going to introduce this character that has nothing to really do with Mario, and whatever. Toad Goes Goomba. What do we got going on here? So Toad is the first to undergo treatment in Koopa's de-evolution chamber. Oh yeah, that's right. Did they like turn people into Goombas in this? And these are the Goombas in the game. They're like lizard creatures, and it's scary as hell. Also, Toad is not Toad. Why do they even call him Toad? I don't know. He turns into a goddamn Goomba. Like, what are we doing here? So yeah, these are very odd because, yeah, there's no value to them. The only distinction about these cards is that they have a number, and that's the only reason that you would collect them, is you have all the numbers. It's not like, oh man, I want the Sludge Gulper card. That was my favorite thing in the movie. Like, no, obviously you're not, like, who cares? Or like the elevator. Man, I loved the elevator scene. I want a trading card for the elevator scene in the Mario movie. It's very, very strange that this is what they decided to focus on, like scenes. I think, again, if they did characters, items, even locations, a little bit better, and not the elevator, but like Brooklyn or Mario's house or Koopa Tower or whatever the hell it was, like that would have been way better than movie scene reference blurb, big picture of it on the back. Like it's very strange. Or you try to implement it into some sort of trading card game. Like, I don't know, guys. This is just a very strange one. It's an interesting piece of history, and we don't see this kind of thing anymore as promotion for movies, obviously, because everything is digital. So like, why the hell would companies print trading cards? This wasn't a good idea to begin with, but this is like a really bad idea. It's a bad execution of a bad idea, basically. I've talked about this for 16 minutes now, so I think I'm just going to stop right here. Also, my throat is starting to hurt. So I'd like to thank everybody so much for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate. I truly hope there's a good one. I don't know when the next video will be, except I do it is tomorrow, and I will see you guys then.